All right. All right. Tested my audio here, so hold on. It's been such a long time since I've done development stream. Okay, so it seems to be good. Anyways, you guys will have to tell me how the audio stuff is, but anyways, it's been quite a while. Gosh, where do I even start? Development's been going good. I get people that ask every now and then. Still a lot of life stuff, a lot of projects that I've had to do for work and stuff like that. And so I've been quite busy with those, but we've still been working on this a little bit here and there. I will admit that for the past month or so, I've had this insane burnout for this project, and I just stopped working on it for like 2 months, maybe, like October. October I took a little hiatus, and I went on vacation with family. What else did I do? It was a busy month. That was a good month though. And now this month we're trying to wrap up for December, trying to get as much done as we can, just to finish the year off strong, and I think we did a lot this year, so it's, you can only do so much, but I think looking back, what matters is, you reflect on what you did that whole year, and if you feel like you grew in any way as a person, or you learned something, or you improved, then you're on the right track, right? So anyways, let's see. So yeah, it's been a while. Kim, how you doing? Yeah, I still try to post in the server every now and then. Not many people really look at that stuff, but it's more for self-documentation at this point, and kind of me logging what I do so I can look back on it, you know what I mean? It's more of that thing. And if people want to look at it, then they can. It's viewable to everybody in there, so there's only one channel that is not, and this is something that I tried to do yesterday. So I actually reached out to this guy. This is kind of interesting stuff here, about combining some of these world spaces together. So I found this YouTube video for 4.26 talking about manual origin rebasing and stuff, world origin rebasing. And so basically my whole problem was I was just doing a little experiment again to see if I could merge these together. And we're talking about quite an unbelievable size of a map. But if I could get as many in as I could, and see how many I could fit together without breaking the boundaries of the engine, basically, which they say in Unreal Engine 4, I think it's 21 kilometers. If you look it up on the internet, there's a couple articles that talk about that stuff. It's really interesting. Like, I found this one. Let's see if I can find it, because it's pretty cool. But I ended up joining this guy's Discord, and I didn't expect a response, but I joined it. I'm like, hey dude, because this video is from like 2 years ago, And I'm like, hey, what'd you do to do this? You know, how'd you, without being annoying, you know what I mean? Because I'm not the kind of person to reach out unless I absolutely, have to. But yeah, that didn't work out so well. Trying to see if I can find what I was talking about. So this is the video I was looking at here. But he was doing... It's kind of hard to see what's going on because what he does in the beginning is he's kind of... I think he starts shifting it here. So he's doing it with like a sun example. But the thing of this is, it's I don't think it's meant for something like what I have, with all the different world spaces and whatnot. He's doing it with like a sun in this case, so it's like not as much, I guess, or a planet or whatever, and it's not like what I'm doing where I have a bunch of world spaces in them. It's a pretty interesting video. I mean, it's super long, but then there was like, what else? Okay, here's this one here. And some of these are pretty old, This isn't new stuff necessarily. It's just like, it's more or less things that I never really took the time to experiment, and then I go and I do it now, and it's like, whoa, it's nice to know these things, and it kind of talks about how it works, like the float point system and everything, or how they actually do. They actually handle data in the world space or worlds and stuff. Yeah, so the thing is, my units ended up being like in the millions when I tried to do this, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't. It was a mess, really. The new stuff would be like, in UE5, how they have like the world partition stuff and everything. For this project, we're still using 4.26, so that's kind of why we're still... and that's just for this project. I have projects that are in UE5 that use world partition, but this one is more long-term. So I often tell people that. I'm like, they're like, you should switch to UE5. You should, use world partition and the new features it has to try to use the large, because they have this new feature for world spaces called, I think it's kind of just this one feature on the setting, and you can tick it, and it's called like enable large world support or something. I don't know what it's called exactly, but I have messed with it a little bit before, and it has it basically increases that 32 that 32-bit value to 64, so it pretty much doubles it to what you can actually handle, as far as like boundaries go and stuff like that. Unreal Engine 4 is obviously more limited in that regard. Yeah, that article talks about it. Actually, if I get a chance, if you just want to look at it, I can put it in the Discord. It's actually kind of interesting. I might pop it in there later for anybody who wants to check it out. Just because it's interesting stuff, I mean, it may be a little older, but it still kind of talks about some of the new things, like here. Yeah, like, okay, yeah, it's called large world coordinates. Yeah, which does it increases the float point value, essentially. Yeah, it's all really cool. So I messed with that yesterday, all that stuff. Didn't exactly work out, but I think the best bet, honestly, and I've said this time and time again publicly, is to just keep these individual. I know people hate loading screens and everything, but it's more for this kind of game. I don't think it's a problem. It's not going to be something that's going to make people go, "Oh, this game is terrible," yada yada. I don't think it's one of those things. It just allows me to focus more on each of the worlds individually. And then who knows? Maybe I'll merge 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 together and make them all one large space. But then, it's whatever's reasonable. I think, and I'm still experimenting with that, but um, as of now, they're all separate files, right? So, I mean, you have like, in the maps here, these are all different worlds. So, visual issues? No. The only time we had them was when I was trying to do when I was trying to combine them all together. And it wasn't a solution for this project. It's just way too large scale for what it is. So, and the thing is, I don't really want to cut back. I want to see this be how I envisioned it. I don't want to cut content just because something, one experiment doesn't work out. Essentially, I want to try to preserve as much as I can. And so far, this has worked. I mean, this whole system of having different uh, worlds for, you travel to a different map for that world and you go, that has like sub levels for locations and stuff. Like this one has, not this one, but if I go to one like this, that's actually been heavier on the development side. It has a bunch of sub levels for locations and stuff like that. So instead of doing, and yeah, I mean, it definitely helps with performance too. So you're not really worrying um, about having that drawback on lower to mid-range hardware. Obviously, the larger scenes like this one are still, they're taxing reasonably, but I'd say performance has gotten better than where it started for sure. Definitely lots of work to do though. The town in particular has a pretty big issue with lag currently, so I got to look into that, see what's going on still. But there's some things I still haven't quite pinpointed the issue. It's a process of figuring out um, what areas need to be looked at, essentially. I don't know what happened to my music. I had music on here, but I think I made it so quiet that you can't really hear it. I could try to put it back up to like 50. Let's see if I... Just let me know if that's too loud, if anybody's in here and notices. I just don't want anybody not to be able to hear me when I'm talking, I don't know why it's taking so long to load all these. Usually it's pretty quick. We're not doing a whole lot today, though. I'm just kind of going around in the projects, seeing what we need to work on, what we can improve. As most people know who have stopped in my streams before, I like to focus a lot on the design stuff while I'm streaming, because a lot of the gameplay stuff I tend to need more focus for, and I just haven't gotten to that point where I'm comfortable really going into all that stuff. But occasionally I will. It depends on what kind of plans we have for the stream, and as of now, honestly, we have none. But yeah, there's a lot of work I want to do with like the water and stuff like this, but in worlds like this, I mean. But this is one of the larger ones that would be in the game, right? You have a much larger space here than, and this is with all the sub-levels currently loaded, so just to give a picture, I mean, ideally, I mean, you could easily spend hours alone in just what's here, you know, currently, even though there's not a whole lot of content. You know, yeah, like the waterfalls and stuff and the rivers. I want to get some actual quality effects in there and stuff. And I actually have a friend who's very good with Niagara now, and he you know, he's getting to the point where he could probably do stuff like that. So if anything, I'll pay him to make some stuff. But yeah, water's tough. It's like, you know, the whole system of adding rivers and waterfalls and just natural water sources is, I think it's always kind of been a little bit of a tackling feat for a lot of people. Basically what I need to do right now though is I need to come in here, and I have two configurations for builds in this game currently, and that's the demo configuration, and then I have a full game configuration. I also have a debug configuration, but the whole thing of it is I run these builds occasionally. I haven't ran one in quite a while. I'm probably going to run a full one today. So what I'm doing now is I'm going through the process of essentially making sure it's in a configuration for a full game build. And there's a few steps I have to do. I've already done a couple of them. But one of the things is that I have these world doors in here. I guess I just call them that just for ease of naming, I guess. But they're just basically ways to get around to different world spaces, right? Besides going to your map. That's all it is. But for demo purposes, they're disabled. Because, you know, I had a guy who was testing. It's currently like a closed, like if I do any demo stuff, it's all closed stuff. You know, mainly just because I want to have, you know, just a few people just testing it right now and getting some bugs and stuff figured out. But yeah, like portals, basically. That's all they are. Nothing really special about them yet, but pretty soon what I was thinking about doing is having like a dragon mount in here. And that would be a way of fast traveling, I think. So I think that would be pretty cool to add. I got quite a few in here, don't I? So I was about to save and go to a different map, and then I realized I have more of these in here. One of the things I started working on this year was interiors, like interior locations you could travel to. Some of these actually go to those levels. Um, yeah, like riding a dragon, yeah, basically. But it would be you'd actually get on it and ride it to the edge of the map, essentially. So you'd go like fly up here, then maybe when you get to a certain point, it brings you to the next world. I don't know, just something like that, something to add a little bit of mix up to it, So yeah, that's something I'm looking at doing pretty soon, actually, just to see if it works or not. Another idea I had was to create a almost like a 3D map like they have in Skyrim, right? Except it's its own world, right? Its own level. But it's almost like a miniature version of this. Really, honestly, it's kind of weird when I think about it. The more I think about it, the weirder it sounds. But it'd be like, I don't know. I guess I'm still kind of picturing it in my head more than actually putting like logical ideas together. But it's just essentially it would be a map where you're specifically going around in a 3D map on a dragon mount, flying around, but instead of like a conventional map, your mouse pointer is essentially going to be that dragon, right? So you'd be actually like going around on the dragon, flying around, hovering over different countries on your map like this, right? It would look kind of like this. It would look exactly like this except in 3D. And so it'd be a way to go to different countries in the continent, because there's a lot. There's like 53. So it's like at least 53. There's a little more than that, actually. But keep in mind, these are all very large, for what they are. And this would be a way to kind of go to them, without kind of making the loading screen portion less of a chore, you know what I mean? Going through it and just kind of just maybe teleporting, it'd be like, loading screen, that's it. You don't really go in there in an interesting way. You kind of just teleport there and you're done. If I'm going to do a system like this where I have the world spaces separate, I want it to be interesting. I want it to be something where players go in and they're not just teleporting to a world space with a loading screen. Yes, there's still going to be a loading screen, but add something interesting in the mix to as to how they actually get there. I think would be a offset to that equation there. But anyways. Yeah, no worries. I gotta figure out what I'm doing anyways. I don't know what I'm doing here. Honestly, I'm kind of just... This is, I don't do my dev streams with much plans anymore. To be quite honest, it may sound sad, but it's, it's either casual streams, it's not... It's more me just talking, talking about things. But hey, if anybody has any recommendations, it happens to stop in here. I'm always open to those things. There is one thing I was starting to do. I bought these packs on Unity yesterday. Let's see if I can find the folder. And so I was looking at starting to convert them into Unreal. So this Poly Universal pack, I purchased on Unity yesterday. I think 50% off. So was looking at getting some of this stuff in because it's quite cool. I mean, if you look at like the demo scene for this, we got Chips want some. Yeah, actually, well, honestly, I need some warm coffee because I woke up and I just got myself some iced coffee because it's quick. Sometimes I do that. I'm like, okay, I don't want to make coffee right away. I'll have a, iced coffee because it's fast, and then I'll hop on here, do some stuff. I figured, I'm just gonna go ahead and stream. So I did that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to make warm coffee. So now I just got, this little bit left in this cup, but it's not much. Anyways, this is pretty cool. This is the, one of the demo scenes for the pack that I purchased. But I think these would be cool for like a bandit camp sort of. So obviously I can make stuff like this on my own. It's just a matter of like a time thing. So sometimes I'll do that. Yeah, actually not long ago. Well, yeah, maybe a couple hours ago. I was up quite late last night, but I woke up about 8 a.m. more or less. Right now it's about 10:16 in the morning, so yeah, it's still fairly early. It's not, super early in the morning or anything, but anyways, yeah. Let's see what else I got here. I want to find out where those wood pieces are so I can go ahead and get those in right now. But I'll do that in a minute. I'm not going to, import a bunch of stuff right now just because it's more something I'd rather do when I'm not streaming. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to using those things. So I gotta think here, got some demo maps here we wanna look at. So we got to go back here then, because I forgot about that one. If you hear the jet engine, that would be my computer, by the way. It gets quite excited every time I load up a map, so at least that's how it's been lately. I don't know why, but, yesterday I actually looked back on some of the older screens of this area, and I'm actually thinking about doing a small poll soon, because I want to see what people think, You do, yeah. Yeah, it gets like that. It does what it wants, It's a pretty powerful machine, so I let it breathe every now and then, just, Sometimes it just goes off, but yeah. So the thing about like a scene, like this, but this camp, for example, used to receive a little more natural light. Let's see. I'm very attentive to things like this, like I'm pretty specific on how things look, I guess. That's cool. Yeah, sometimes I come in here and I see things, I'm like, oh wow, that's cool, I didn't realize. looked like that. What the different times of day. Yeah, but I will say, even like this location here looks so much different a couple of years ago as to, even a year ago as to where it, how it looks now. You know, it's, well, I think it's for the better. I mean, it's not getting as much natural light. I wish I could find a screenshot of, if I do find it, I'll put a, I might put some images on some social media, or maybe just Discord even, and do like a poll to see what people think. But I don't know, it's more of like a universal look now, you know. It's not too intense, it's not too bright or anything, or too dim. Here it's more of a moody map anyways, and I went through and I kind of did the weather stuff to where it's like, I don't know, more of a snowy environment. But I'd say maps like this are still pretty heavy in development too, because I'm still working out the snow biome stuff, you know. But yeah. And this is a pretty big world too. I mean, it's, you know, you can see here how quite large it is, and how a lot of this area is not even, doesn't have a lot of locations yet. So I'm looking forward to expanding on areas like that too. I think starting next year though, we're just going to start focusing a couple at a time. And really in the beginning, for a while, it's been hard, because with these world spaces, I've been going back and forth between this map and this map for this week. Okay, no, we're going to work on these two this week. You know, and it's kind of just a jumping game, really. But I don't know, maybe, yeah, like I said, starting next year, we'll just focus on a couple a month, or one a month even. Because in the end, I want these to be, I want there to be good content, you know, too. I want people to be able to go in these worlds and spend hours in them, not just roaming around necessarily, but also doing things that are meaningful to the world, the lore. In the main quest, the main story levels I'm working on now in the process, as I'm working on these world spaces, because they all kind of tie in with each other, really. The idea is going to be how these story levels you complete, you come back to the world spaces where you can kind of free roam, so to speak. And things are different, you know. You notice some things are not quite the same, or there's more control in this area by this occupation force, or because I think a big part of Wolfthorn is it's not just your typical good versus evil, but you also have an economy. You have a political system, you know. There's some sort of governmental authority in some of these world spaces, but that's all, like, you know, things that I'll get into at a further date, I think. As far as story levels go, yeah, there's quite a few. So actually I have a list here. I'm not going to tell you the names or, you know, anything like that, but I'll tell you about how many we have planned. So currently it's about at 32. About 32. That's quite large, actually, considering they'll be about, you know, some of them will be shorter than others. You know, I think like the intro maybe, you know, maybe half an hour, you know, not that long. Maybe you spend more time looting or something, getting different items, but ideally the good length ones would be, you know, you know, your standard length, maybe if you had like two split up into different chapters, it'd maybe be like maximum an hour, but that's like even pushing it. I'm trying to keep it to where it's consistent, you know. But I really hope to actually share some more of that starting next year, most likely. I did mention I might do some reveals the end of this year. But yeah, 32, man. I think, yeah, and I think that's kind of my goal, is I see too many games now where the content is an issue, you know, and it's not just the length, but it's also the content itself. So I think that's going to be a challenge in itself, but once I can find a way to make each level interesting, you know, something that's different, something that engages the player and makes them go, oh wow, this is, you know, this is something that's different from the last one. I'm kind of excited to go through this and see, you know, what it leads to next, you know, what the next level is or what the next step is in the story. But I think having, and you know, it's not to say I won't cut levels, you know, or things won't get cut out, you know, things happen. And I don't exactly have plans for every single one of them yet, but I think, like I said, I want to try to keep as much as possible and preserve as much as my original vision for this project as I can. So if in any way I can incorporate, you know, cut content into other areas, that's where I would go ahead and do so, more than willingly. Even if it's like Easter eggs and stuff like that, you know, little things like that where you have some games where they'll do that and they'll take cut content and move them into smaller objects like Easter eggs, and even to give context, because I think context really does matter in a game like this. But let's see what else we have here. So for the demo maps that I wanted to run through. Okay, we need to run over here. Yeah, as far as like Easter eggs go too, I think that's going to be a fun thing with the community. Once more people become invested in this project and there's more understanding of the lore, once I'm able to start to reveal some more of that, I'm excited to see what people recommend, you know, what kind of ideas people have too. Because I would like to incorporate stuff like that, you know. Not sure what's going on here. Just got a text. I don't know what is happening here, if it's even doing anything. Well, in the meantime, let me look at this again. So I just have to go in the tutorial map after this, and then that's all set. hate when it does this. It's like it just does whatever it wants. I have to take this. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. This is like an issue with Unreal Engine 4 still, where if you open a map and you get the dialogue that asks if you want to save before you actually save the map, and you click save, it just kind of like does this thing here where it like gets rid of the progress bar, and then yeah. I can see it on my other monitor. That's nothing new there. Really? Alright, whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna do any more dev builds for a little while anyways. Besides, well, actually, yeah, I mean, I could still do them. It just I won't hand it to testers or anything like that, you know. I would do them for like debugging technical stuff once I get into the performance part of things again, but I think that's the only one in here, and it's already enabled, so I would like to add some of these guys in here. Let's see if I can. I'm gonna do something with these invisible wall things too, eventually, because I know people, it's not really a conventional thing. So eventually what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a system where you go up to it, basically, and it either like sets you back or just gives you a warning that says this is like the extent of the level, basically. I don't know. I'll just put boundaries around them. I don't know. Of course, got another one of these guys here. second here. Yeah, sorry, I just got a text from a fellow developer that I'm working with currently. And he wants to hop in a call to discuss things, business things, so might have to do that in a bit. But yeah, I'm really wanting to focus more on some of the world spaces I've focused less on in the past few months that I've still been in quite a bit, like the Taiga Valley, West Mars, definitely the Netherlands. The Ettenfords, I really need to figure out the river stuff better, I guess. Figure out what I'm doing there before I go back in there, because it's really meant to be more of like a, well, there's meant to be a lot of fords, you know, so it's, as in the rivers, not the vehicles. So it's, it kind of needs that sort of appeal to it. I think it kind of lacks that currently. Some of these worlds are meant to have very specific geographical features, and a lot of them still need work on that. But then again, you know, for the most part, they're quite consistent, I think, for now. But what I wanted to do also is to start implementing or incorporating the magic spells into the world to where you can pick more of them up. Because right now they're just kind of a thing I've been working on, but I haven't really put them in as like much, you know, lootable objects and stuff like that. So I'm finally starting to do that now. And so I'm even thinking of having like a spell vendor and stuff like that. A lot of cool stuff like that, I think. So I'm excited to work on that as well. Different loot interactables and things like that. What was I gonna do? This area is going to be kind of cool to go back to, because it's going to be kind of like a orc outposts or strongholds, so to speak. I think I put somewhere in the Discord, but I was also thinking of doing like these towers, sort of like they have in Shadow of War and the Shadow of Mordor games. Basically regarding influence of a region and having some sort of influence system based on whoever's occupying the area. And it won't just be like orcs, it could be different factions, bandit factions or guard factions, or just different guilds maybe, or something like that. And so, I mean, that could get quite complex, I think, but it could also be very cool. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do it because I don't have like a visual way to recognize the influence of an area yet. So, you know, like how they do in those games, they do the color coding sort of, and it's kind of like a like different regions like have a, if you uncover a certain region and covers all the locations. Theirs is quite simple, I think. So I would also like to maybe keep it quite simple, but also maybe different in how it affects the map and what you see. But then I also have to rework the current, not the world map, but the map for when you open it in a country or your current world space, the map for that world space. So I'd say once I rework that system, that's probably when I'll get back into doing that. It's just more of a, at this point, how are we going to proceed with you know, tackling the map for not the continent, but the current world you are in. Right now it's still a 3D map where, you know, you go up in the sky somewhere from your current location, and it kind of just does like a, if I play, it kind of just does like a top-down view of the map, but it's not really ideal, you know. It's something I'd like to keep maybe as like a feature, but it's not the main thing I'd like to have for the world map. So, and it gets quite dark. I'm not sure why it's like that. And also the views can get out of proportion. Like here you can see like certain parts aren't really. So yeah, I mean, it's not. The clicking still does work, but it's hit or miss, really. I don't know. I'd like to keep it and rework it if I can, but I don't know. It's something that I've yet to decide upon. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I wanted to go back to. It's another thing I wanted to do. So many things I want to do, but not anything I want to do right now. It's like. Go here. Oh god, here it goes again. Yeah. It doesn't like me loading all these levels up today. It's like, come on, man. So I mentioned this in one of my vlogs, but definitely wanting to start adding more enemy types pretty soon here. Not limited to, but including like two-handed brutes, swordsmen. I guess sorceresses and sorcerers. There's already archers, things like that, but I think that's going to add another element of what we add to the world, you know, as far as like not just threats go, but also how combat plays out with different locations. But this is another one of the world spaces where it's larger than some of the average ones, and I have more plans for, but the main focus back here is going to be the city once it's finished, but it's currently still just a more or less a blockout phase for that. I haven't returned to that. Let's see. But yeah. And this extends pretty far, I think. Let's see. I'm not sure why Ultra Dynamic Sky does this. I contacted the man who created it. I forgot his name. I haven't even been in the server in forever. Sorry guy. But you know, it has this problem where you have like these weird like occlusions. It has to do with dynamic shadows. So if I turn them off, or not dynamic shadows, I'm sorry, it's, what is it? Skylight? Type in. I'll have to figure out what it was again, actually, because I forget. But yeah, it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird how that happens. I'd say that's really the only visual issue right now, though, as far as like technicality goes. So I mean, it's not a huge thing, but I honestly don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to figure out I'd like to stream my battle chest project at some point. It's kind of been an unannounced thing, you know. It's in my Discord. You can get to the channel. It's just, it hasn't really been announced or anything anywhere. It's more or less kind of a sub-project of the Wolfthorn universe. And essentially it's like a conquest style game. Kind of like Lord of the Rings Conquest and things like that. I think I've talked about it a couple times, and I think I've even streamed it a few times too in the past, but yeah, at some point I'd like to go back to that and stream it. It's still kind of being worked on. It's just been off-put, I guess, for a little bit. But yeah, it's... Actually, let's go here. It's mostly just right now with that project, it's the AI that I'm working on. I actually had a friend that I used to do some... They were more or less fan projects back in the day, but just fun little projects we do together. And he used to be really good with AI. I think he still is, but I think. He was busy, unfortunately, so I couldn't get him on board. But so yeah, I'm kind of just trying to figure out on my own at this point what the conquest AI in that game, which, you know, I don't want it to be, you know, just dumb, you know, basic AI where, you know, it goes from point A to point B, and, you know, it's not really necessarily consistent, you know. So we're still kind of working on that, but so at some point, and this is an issue I've had with these world spaces too, is I have replaced the foliage types and I've like edited them in other worlds, not realizing I shared them with some other ones, so it like updates the trees and stuff, which, I mean, it turned out pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just what I'm looking at doing for future I guess references is I'm looking at creating folders for different foliage types based on worlds, instead of sharing them all the time. You know, there's some instances I'll share. Actually, most I will. But then that way, you know, when you go to replace an instance, it doesn't just change everything and you don't have things quite organized, so it becomes a little bit of an issue once you start to edit, you know. But yeah, let's see, I gotta respond to this guy real quick. I need another cup of coffee. Like, I mean, not just iced coffee. Let me double check to make sure I've done everything for the full game configuration here. So we did all the doors, or you know, teleportation points, whatever. Yeah, I think we should be set there. If I do a full build later and I realize something's missing, I'll just come back here and change it. I don't think it's an issue. So this map here, yeah, this is one of my primary concerns actually, as far as like the end of the story goes, because this needs to be really honestly in a much different state than it is now before it's ready for that. But it's kind of having an identity crisis right now in some way. I have a freaking Sauron statue there. Shit. But it's in the process of figuring out what it wants to be. Some of these have gotten a lot less attention, you know. It's a matter of where we're at as far as the story goes. I think we'll run about another 20 minutes or so here. And then maybe we'll come back and stream some more in a little bit. Just have some things I have to attend to. I'm not sure why this is so bright. Why is this so bright? Yeah, that's normal. I guess it's just the sand and stuff. I don't know. That's weird. Just gotta go back to the developer map because I think I'm just gonna import some of those assets right now. Get those set up because I need to do that anyways. And so there's two modes I want to add that I think would be fun for not just testing the combat, but also improving it. Adding more enemy types and stuff, I feel like it would help both development, and then it could potentially, if it's good enough, stay in the game. I feel like a lot of games need that, but the two modes I had in mind to add were a standard horde mode, obviously, but I think that would be more or less, there's already kind of a map I have for it right now. It's not being used in the game, but it would be more or less what I had previously at one point, and I wish I could show it, but I don't have any real footage of it anymore, besides a couple screenshots. But something like that, and then also, what was the other thing? Like an arena mode, so sort of like a gladiatorial arena where you're competing in it for silver and stuff, and you can bring it back to your main game and stuff, and have that be a option, sort of like Mountain Blade 2 does, where you have the city arenas and stuff. You can compete in like tournaments and things like that. I think that would be quite cool. So we'll see. And then maybe eventually that could even be like a multiplayer component. I don't know how that would really work, but we'll see. Just ideas. Everybody's messaging me today, I think. I promise it won't be as zombie like the next stream. But yeah, it's just more of a casual thing anyways. Again, I'm kind of just going through some thoughts and discussions more than anything. Not really doing a whole lot of the stream, but this is another thing. I have these trees here that a friend and I were looking at. I like them, but they got this weird shadowing, and it's all to do with, I think, the material and the shader for them, which, I'm decent with shaders and materials and all that stuff, but I wouldn't call myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but these have some sort of weird shadowing, and it's, I think it has to do with the texture channel or something like that, where it's being implemented incorrectly, but hope to figure that out soon also, because they're quite cool. I'd like to keep them in here, actually, but there's things like that too where I'm still working on some visual parts of the game like that. Yeah, I think we'll wrap up here in the next 5 minutes. I just want to see here. This is what I was looking for, the horde map. So yeah, I just want to run through this real quick. So this horde map, I'm thinking I'm gonna use this because this was the original, this is what we had previously, and it's pretty much all set up. It just needs the gameplay. I don't know why that's so large. Okay. think I already updated this too, so. This used to be the Ammonhen map I had created for, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, it used to be the Ammonhen map I created for my Lord of the Rings fan project back in the day when I was doing a low poly Middle Earth. I wish I still had all that stuff, it was so cool, but unfortunately I don't. Yeah. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be a fun little thing to get back in and create, and be able to test combat and stuff more freely without having a restriction to a single developer map with not much really to test, you know what I mean? It'd be easier this way by a long shot. Yeah. That's pretty much that. We still have our mode set here. I don't think that's a subclass of... Yeah, it actually is a subclass of the... I wonder if it actually works. I would try it, but I'm actually afraid to. I'll go ahead and try it just to see. See what happens. Oh my gosh, that's loud. That hurt my ears. Okay, so the that's weird. I don't know why I can't look with my mouse. Do my spell. Holy crap, my ears. Oh yeah. It sort of works. I still have Lord of the Rings shit in here, I guess. That's how old this map is. Can you believe that? Yeah, so it's... I mean, it sort of functions, but... Yeah. It needs to be reworked completely. It's just pretty much broken. Because it's so old and I never really redid it. But it'll be a fun thing to come back to. I just need something to test combat, you know, really be able to have something to test it consistently and work on it. I think that would be a good thing for it. Funny thing is I'm actually doing it with a project I'm helping another developer with right now, where he has this horde map and we pretty much test all of our combat stuff in there at this point. We have one for the developer side, and then we have one that goes in the actual game. So, I mean, I may even do something like that too, where I have that option, because it's nice to have. The more areas you can test certain critical parts of your project, I think the better, where you're not focusing on like everything else at the same time. I think that's quite important. So, yeah. Well, I don't really have any other plans right now. I think we'll cut this one off for now. It's a little bit of a shorter one today, but I guess I'm just letting everybody know I'm still alive. We're still working on this project. I'm still just as scatterbrained as I was the last time I streamed this, but you know, that's only when I'm streaming, by the way. It's not it's a lot to work on still, a lot to do. You know, at this point, people ask me, you know, are you ever going to release this project? Is it ever going to come out? My typical answer is, yeah, but and they'll say when. I don't know. I don't have a set release date at this point. I kind of have one in the back of my head. You know, I have goals, but yeah, it's more or less. We'll just see where things go. You know, I don't have any set public release dates, so to speak, but there are a lot of things coming, and I just think we'll announce them when the time's right. But right now it's just me, and you know, it is what it is. So we got quite a bit to do, so we'll see. Hopefully, I'll at least get the Steam page built back up, and once I do that, I'm hoping people start to get more attracted to the project and more interested after I get everything set up and I have like a playable demo on there or something like that. I think that would be good for the game. And at that point, I'd say things would start to pick up a little bit in that regard, but we'll see. All right, I think I'm gonna cut this one off for now. Thanks everybody who stopped by today, and for those of you who stayed and listened, thank you for doing so as well. Next stream will actually focus on doing some things that are things I've been wanting to do with this project, and some of the ideas that I talked about during this stream. I think we'll start to implement some of those. So it'd be nice to have this horde mode working in some form next stream, so that way I can come in and actually start to do things and edit it, and I think it'll be fun. I'd like to do a stream just dedicated to that too. I think it'd be a fun little stream for people to look at and interact with, so we'll see. But yes, I'm alive and we're still doing this thing, slowly but surely. All right, I hope everyone has a great rest of their weekend, and I may stream more development in a little bit today. I'm not sure. I always say that just because I'm not sure if I will, but I might, depending on how the day goes, and then maybe even like a gaming stream or something like that later. So all right, have a great weekend everybody. Thank you for stopping by, and catch you in the next one. Bye.